first lesson in Term 2, Chapter 3, Section 1, titled Hunters Gatherers. To start, the Stone Age is the early period in human history when people began using stones to make weapons and tools. The Stone Age is divided into two parts. The earliest part of this period is known as the Paleolithic Age. Paleolithic means old or old stone. So the first part of the Stone Age is called the Old Stone Age or the Paleolithic, and the second part is known as the New Stone Age or the Neolithic. This lesson we will talk about the Paleolithic Age. It began about 2.5 million years ago. Paleolithic people were nomads. Nomads are people who moved from place to place in search for food and survival. They traveled in groups of 20s and 30s. Paleolithic people also survived by hunting and gathering. They hunted buffaloes, bison, wild goats, reindeers, and fished. They also gathered wild nuts, berries, fruits, and grains. So, Paleolithic people were nomads. Nomads are people who move from place to place in search for food or survival. The nomads did two things for food: hunting and gathering. These are the examples of the animals they hunted, and these are examples of the plants, seeds that they gathered. Men's roles was to hunt large animals and to find food. Their techniques in hunting large animals was known as the tracking method. The men used clubs or sticks or drove the animal off the cliff to kill them. Over time, they developed tools and weapons to kill the animals instead. The women's role in finding food was staying close to the camp. They were responsible for looking after the children, and they would search in the nearby woods around the places where they lived for berries, grains, and nuts. So, to sum it up, in finding food, men were responsible for the hunting process, and the women were responsible for the gathering process. Scientists believe that the Paleolithic men and women they worked together as pairs to find food for themselves and their children. These groups were the first families. The methods the Paleolithic people used to hunt and gather food were part of their culture. As they hunted, they kept developing more and more tools to do it better. This resulted in technology, or this resulted in the idea of technology that tools and methods can be developed and they can be used to perform tasks. This is an external example which shows you one of the oldest ways known as dental drills. It was a tool with a small flint tip that was used to fix tooth decay. It used to drill the tooth to remove the decay, and this was before anesthetics. This is an example of one of the developed tools during the Paleolithic Age. The Paleolithic people learned how to make cutting tools from a hard stone called the flint. The flint was used to make spears, bows and arrows. These were used for hunting. It was also used for making harpoons and fish hooks for fishing. The flint again was used for making scraping tools for cleaning the animal hides. And finally, the flint was also used for making needles from the animal bones. So, this was one of the main sources that Paleolithic people started developing tools, which is the flint. They used to make tools. The tools that were made were 1. Spears, 2. Bows and arrows, 3. Harpoons, 4. Fish hooks, 5 scraping tools, and 6 needles. The new technology affected where the people settled. Other than the technology, also the climate affected how the Paleolithic people lived. Because they were in cold climates, they made clothing from animal skin to stay warm, and they went into natural shelters inside caves, and they also constructed shelters using wood, animal hides or skin, bones, and in some cases, ice and snow. The Paleolithic people that lived before the Ice Age, were in warmer climates, they needed little clothing or shelter. And then Paleolithic people discovered how to make fire. It was discovered accidentally when two stones were rubbed together, and due to friction in the warm weather, the stones made a spark. Once they discovered fire, fire was used for warmth, light, protection from wild animals. It was used as a hunting tool. It was used for cooking, and they set it up as a meeting place. Going back to the source of making fire, Paleolithic people again, to repeat, they learned how to create fire because of friction by rubbing two sticks or two stones together. Here, they discovered that a certain stone gave off sparks when struck against another rock. The sparks and the friction used first to ignite dry grass or leaves, or burn them, or start fire in leaves. This is where they got the idea of fire. This is where we're going to stop for the first part of Chapter 3, Section 1.